All right, here we are. We got another day with the day Tradestor, showing you every trade that I make using my swing trading strategy. Today started out to be a really good day in the S&P 500. We actually opened higher than yesterday's close. We opened roughly $10 higher. And if you take a look at this candle wick, we actually reached an all-time high of $67.50 and 87 cents, but we've just been going down ever since we've reached that high. Now, the previous 2 days, yesterday and Wednesday, both of those were record-breaking all-time highs. So it is possible that the S&P 500 could break another all-time high today for the close. I mean, it wouldn't take much. We actually just rose above higher than yesterday's close just while we just a few seconds sitting here. That'd be great to end the ending of a great week with an all-time high. It's pretty exciting, actually, if you're in the market. So it certainly is super exciting, especially with a swing trading strategy where we are making money from these gains. This 3-month move has been one heck of a nice, strong run. In reference to the possible sell alerts that we received this morning, we received 4, and on those 4, I know we're going to be selling 3 at a profit. And then we've got some left over from yesterday that we'll have to take a look at, but we'll start with today's, which the first one is Howmet, is HWM. And yesterday we had price move below our fast moving average, and we have a continuation of that move down. The price is lower than the close of yesterday's candle, so we're looking to sell 1 book of Howmet. And I'm currently maxed out with my 4 books with 3 shares each, so we're going to look to sell 3 shares. And I will be selling them at a profit. See if we get them at 189.55. So those 3 shares of 189.55, I bought at 186. So we'll just round that down to $3 for each share. So we're looking at roughly $9. Well, we're rounded up to 10 since it was 55 cents. So we roughly $10 profit for that sale. TJX is our next stock that we received an alert for. So TJX. TJX is a discount, or it is an off-price retailer for like TJ Maxx and Marshalls. And Home Goods. All right, we'll make our way through all these day trading closed bubbles, and you'll see that we had price. Let's zoom in here. You see we had price move below our fast moving average yesterday, and we do have continuation of that price moving down. So we will be selling 2 shares. I'm maxed out with my 4 books having 2 shares each. So we'll go into our active trader, bump this down to 2, and we're looking to sell at 142.34, which will be at a profit of $2 per share. So we're looking at another $4 of realized gains on the sale of TJX. Now the last one that I know for certain that I believe we're going to sell is a ETF XLY, and that is for consumer discretionary. And again, we have price yesterday moved below our fast moving average. It crossed yesterday, and we have a continuation down. So looking at XLY, I bought at 233.87, and this is at 237. So we're just going to round that to a $4 profit. I maxed out with 1 book per share. So we're going to drop this down to 1 book, or 1 share rather. And that did not go. Price was already higher. We're going to try this again at 237.41. Selling that. So 237.42. So that is a $4 profit on XLY. All right. So we're currently looking at $14 in profit. At least I am anyway. If you currently hold these stocks, you may want to consider selling these. We might be on a short-term downward trend. But definitely do your own research and make that decision. Now, we do have one that we will not be selling. We'll be making a sell order for, and that is Yum. Same thing. We had price move below our fast-moving average yesterday. We have a continuation of that price down. However, all 4 shares, I'm fully booked with 1 share per book. I bought those at 150.81. So we're going to come into our watch list, come down to Yum. Right click, we're looking to sell 1 share And we're going to go to our first place digit, which is in the hundreds. 10% of that is 10 cents. So we're going to add 10 cents to our purchase price, 150.81, and make it 150.91. Go to cancel extended hours, confirm and send. And I use Thinkorswim. That is my trading platform that I use, and you can get that through Charles Schwab. Now that's everything for today. Wasn't a lot to take care of, but if you saw my video yesterday, you'll see that we had two stocks that we chose not to do anything with from after receiving the sell alerts, and we'll take a look at those. And the first one we'll take a look at is American Express, AXP, and you can see we had the cross, and we had a continuation of the cross of the fast-moving average. However, the next day, we had a green candle, and that would have been a continuation move for this candle's crossing the slow-moving average. However, price went higher than the close, so that's not a continuation. Yesterday, I said we'll take a look at both American Express and Uber. Uber is a similar situation. The next day's candle, which is our continuation candle, reversed direction and went up. And we still have an upward move. We opened much higher, and even though price is moving down, it's still higher than the close of what's supposed to be the continuation candle, or the crossing candle rather. So we'll take a look at Uber. So we'll take a look at American Express on Monday and see if we have a true continuation of the move. Uber, the same thing. So you can see that we do not have continuation. As a matter of fact, so yesterday when I was making the video, price was below the slow moving average, and I said that I would come back today and we would take a look to see if we have a cross or a continuation of this move, but price ultimately moved back up across the slow moving average, so we did not receive an alert today for Uber. I just had it on my list of things to look at the next day, and there's no need. We will not be doing anything with Uber today. And I won't need to leave that on my list because we don't actually have a cross below the slow moving average at this time. The only thing we have to look at on Monday is American Express. All right, it is now time to see what we are able to buy on our list from our potential buy alerts. Now, out of the $1,300 I've already calculated, I have $850 left over from yesterday or to spend on some stocks. So let's take a look at a few. We're going to start with the ETF IWM, which is the Russell 2000. IWM, which is an ETF for the Russell 2000, which are 2,000 of the best small cap stocks in the US. Let's zoom in here. It's a little messy on the chart. So yesterday we had price cross above our fast moving average, and IWM, as you saw, if you take a look, it's been in an uptrend since August 13th. So we'll zoom back in. And we certainly have continuation. However, the Russell 2000 being the 2,000 largest companies, a little over half of the companies are actually profitable or around profitable, and IWM is a slow mover. It's not very volatile, so I'm going to see what other stocks that we have, but this is a stock that if I had more money than $800 I would be able to buy, but we have 6 or 7 stocks on the list that we're going to take a look at. The next one is Keysight Technologies, Keys, K-E-Y-S. Zoom back in. So here we had price cross above the fast moving average, but we do not have a continuation of that move. The price is reversed and it's now lower than the fast moving average. So we're not going to be doing anything with Keysight Technologies. I'm going to cross that off my list. Next one we're going to look at is 3M, MMM. All right, so we have two things happening. We had price move above the fast moving average 2 days ago. We had a continuation of that move. However, we did not do anything with purchasing any 3M if we had taken a look at it because the fast moving average was lower than the slow moving average, and we do not buy stocks typically when the fast moving average is lower than the slow moving average. And if you look, it's been a choppy stock. We really haven't gone anywhere. Let's open this back up. and we'll go basically in 3 months where we were 3 months ago. So it's a choppy stock. It hasn't gone anywhere. So I am not going to buy anything on this cross because number one, it's choppy. We're going to wait until breakout possibly. So let's go ahead. I'm going to set a drawing. We're going to add a drawing here, and we're going to do a box. And all I need is just price to break out above this area. All right, so I won't be doing anything with 3M until we have price break out, and it has to close out, not just price moving above, but we're going to take a look at the price, and if the candle closes, then the next day, if we have a green candle from there, we'll consider that a breakout move, and that means 3M possibly might be ready to take a higher move when there's a consolidation like this. I mean, this is 3 months to really go nowhere is a long time. And especially if we just look at from the second week of August, we're looking at nearly 2 months of consolidation of price, going up, down, bears not winning, bulls not winning. And typically when price breaks out of a zone, it's ready to take a big move up or down. In this particular case, we're hoping it moves up because it's been coiling. It's like a spring. Price is acting like a spring here, and it just gets tighter and tighter and tighter, and eventually it takes off. And that's what we're going to be looking for with 3M. So we're not going to be doing anything with 3M until we actually have a breakout from this price action. So the next one we're going to take a look at is NRG. NRG, they specialize in liquid natural gas manufacturing. Now you can see this on a much shorter time frame. You can see right here, price has just been coiling. So typically it'll have a continuous move up or excuse me, down, and then a continuous move up and a continuous move down and then a continuous move up. But here we've been coiling since September 15th, just stuck in a range, waiting until the bulls win or the bears win. One of them's going to win to start sending the price action continuous in one direction. And that's the swing move that we're going to try to capture. So looking at NRG, we had price move above the fast moving average. We actually have the average turning back up. We have the slow moving average, which is definitely in an upward climb. But we have price. It did reach, almost reached a high. We were high at 175, but it reached the same point that this candle did. So this would be the top of the zone that we're looking to break out of on price action. So we're going to do the same here. We're going to draw a box. We're going to add a drawing. And we're looking to basically just break out of this box. All right, the next stock we're going to take a look at is Shopify, S-H-O-P. Now this one's much more promising. It's been an upward trend for 3 months now. We had a little small dip, but it still was continuing higher over the long run. We had price move above 2 days ago, 4 days ago, above the fast moving average. And we've got a nice big move today of almost $10. So right now I currently have 0 shares. With Shopify, I'd like to max out with 2 shares per book. So that'll be a total of 8 shares. So coming into our active trader, drop this down to 8 and 161.35. And we'll mark that off of our list. We got that taken care of. 8 shares of Shopify. Now I maxed out on Shopify, which means I spent far more than the $850. I spent roughly $1,200 of that, and I didn't mind spending that. Shopify it looks like it might be at the beginning of a pretty decent move. And compared to the few day trading stocks that I've sold, those are a little bit slower moving. There's no big news. That we've had some pretty good news for Shopify here recently. The reason we had this move is because of the news that Shopify is going to have a partnership with ChatGPT for their I believe instant checkout. They also reached an all-time high, and many stocks, when they reach an all-time high, that's a pretty good signal to go higher. So I went $400 over, which means some of the slower moving stocks I will not be able to buy back in, which is not a big deal. The thing about trading, you want to make as good of decisions as you can make based on price action, based on, like with this particular strategy, it's moving action. excuse me, moving average action as the moving averages cross each other. And also on news. News is a big part of making an informed decision. I've got a pretty good, I've got a sound strategy that's been making me money ever since I started, actually. If you looked at YouTube, you could see people where they talk about how they blew up their accounts over and over and over. Or you could see the statistic that almost 90 to 95% of everybody who takes up trading, especially day trading, fails. They blow up their account. They go to zero. And I've basically been profitable from day one. Certainly have had some bad times. I have also made some mistakes on some of my trades. But I have more money than when I started with 3 years ago. And I hope through my videos I can teach you and show you my basic strategy, and you might be able to utilize that to start your own strategy, or to copy my strategy, or at least a strategy to build from. That's my goal. I just want to help people with their retirement so they can have a sense of freedom, or actually have freedom, not a sense of freedom, while they're building their wealth that will improve their sense that they will have a financial freedom at some point. But taking a look at the S&P 500 chart, you can see today's candle is currently higher than yesterday's close. So we are possibly going to close at an all-time high for the S&P 500. And if you're not in the markets, I hope that my videos are helping to inspire you to enter into the markets, especially if you're thinking about starting a retirement account. The only recommendation that I will consistently make is, if you do get into trading, start a retirement account. Invest through a retirement account. Do not do this through a regular account. Do not do this through a cash account. You do not want an individual account. That is the best recommendation I can give you. There are a myriad of reasons that you would not want to day trade through an individual account, and one of them being the tax hit that you might get hit with if you do this incorrectly. As long as you have the funds in a retirement account, you can buy and trade, sell. You can lose money, make money, lose money, sell stocks at a gain, sell stocks at a loss. You can go back and forth, be in the red, be in the positive. You can do that 100 times a day if you want, and there will be no tax accountability. If you do that if you trade in an individual account, every single profit that you make is taxable. You can offset those gains in a cash account by tax loss. That would be the wash sale rule, and that you can deduct or count against your gains. You can count up to $3,000 in losses. So $3,000 in losses, you can offset $3,000 in gains, but any other gain that you make in an individual account is taxable. Okay, before we take a look at our chart of the day, we're going to take a look at what the market closed at. Now, if you're new to my videos and you're new to Thinkorswim, if you look at this sub tab here, we can see what each candle opened at, the high that was reached for the candle, the low, the close, and the range. And this information is for each candle. As I hover over a candle, as the y-axis records the price as I move up and down, the x-axis is hovering over a candle, and that was what information fills those boxes. So we can look. If you look there, we can see that yesterday's candle closed at $6,715.35, and today, $6,715.79. The S&P 500 closing at an all-time record high again by a whole 44 cents. The bull buyers, the shoppers, the people who want to drive the market, they ended up beating the bears, and we ended up again, as I said, at an all-time record high for the S&P 500. Now, our chart of the day is Shopify, S-H-O-P. We're going to go out of our daily chart, and we're going to go into our 1 day and 2 minute chart. That is the chart that I day trade on. So we'll go to the 2 minute time frame. And you can see Shopify opened up around 152. It closed at 161. So we're looking at roughly an increase of $9, which ended up being 6.5%. Shopify is one of the stocks that I hold long term. It is one of the stocks that I swing trade and day trade with. Unfortunately, prior to this morning's open, I didn't actually have any shares. It is a stock that's on my list of stocks to try to trade and swing trade, and I will be doing for many years and possibly decades. As long as Shopify is in business and doing well, I'll be looking to trade this e-commerce business. Shopify is a global company. They do not have a great deal of competitors in their particular space. And as economies develop around the world, they're going to be developing with Shopify as people want to start businesses and earn their own money and make their own income and create their own wealth. So looking at our 2-minute chart, you can see they had a heck of a rise at the beginning, right at 9:30. They started taking off actually a little bit before 9:30, and they went from 152 all the way up to 160. And then the rest of the day was a little bit of chop, and we ended up basically $1 higher than their actually 9:30 run from 15 minutes after open. And as I said earlier, their partnership with ChatGPT, OpenAI actually, and they also partnered with Genie Lab. Genie Lab is going to help process the purchases and conversions at a little bit more efficient and effectively than what they were doing prior to the partnership. Now, as I said, I did not own any shares until I bought all in. So I am maxed out with 8 shares right now with Shopify, and hopefully we'll see a big return on that over the next coming weeks and months. So we'll go back to our 1 year, 3 month and 1 day chart, our daily chart. And you can see the move the size of this candle. It might be the biggest candle that they've had in the last 3 months. So let's take a look at that. That's from 152 to 161, we'll call that $9. This is from 145 to 155, $10. So it's almost as big as this candle. And this candle was a big candle. You can see it gapped open after the earnings were reported. The very next morning, they had a huge gap up. And then they've basically been moving sideways ever since. So if we look at our price, if we look at our y-axis line all the way across, you can see that prices broken out and closed above the previously 1, 2, 3 high points here, and it might be a breakout. We might be able to see that move. We see both indicators on the MACD are both turning up. We have the RSI not quite over bought territory. We've got plenty of room to run up. So hopefully this is a breakout. Hopefully we're right at the beginning, and breakouts, so we can have moves like this over the next several days, weeks, and as I said, even months. But Shopify is a stock that I'll be holding on and trading for many years to come. So let's do a quick recap and see what we did today. So we sold Howmet, HWM, TJX, and the ETF XLY. We put a sell order on Yum Brands, and I bought Shopify. So now we'll take a look and see what our realized gains and our portfolio performance is for the day and also for the week. All right, we've got these pulled up. So today's performance did $611.27. And for those of you who are watching my video for the first time, most of this is from my day trading. I'm trying to figure out a way that I can record some day trading or get on Discord and provide alerts. But the purpose of this video is for swing trading. And today, through our swing trades, we made roughly $14 in profits off of those sales that we made. So $611 for today. The week, I'm looking at $2,797.03, and the same thing is true here. The majority of my money that I make right now is through day trading. And I am not recommending you day trade. Most of you work every day. This is my job. This is what I do all day, every day. So these returns that I'm making, these gains that I'm making are not normal. They are not common. This is not something that everybody can do. I'm not recommending you day trade. I recommend that you do not day trade. I am showing you my videos to try to get people who do not have retirement accounts to open a retirement account and start investing money so they can retire when it is time for them to retire, or even earlier than what most people retire. So my portfolio performance to date, the new account that I opened on August 19th, we are performing at 7.92% compared to the S&P 500 at 4.91% from the date of opening. And all of this, all the funds, assets, shares and money in this account came from this account. I had to transfer everything over from this account, and I had to close this account. But year to date, from January 1, prior to me opening or closing this account on August 18th, we were performing at 16.26% compared to the S&P 500 at 10.54%. And if we combine those, my performance is 24.18% year to date, and the S&P 500 is 15.45%, which means I am performing 8.73% greater than the S&P 500. Now, the day trading strategy that I am showing in these videos is also outperforming. I don't know to what degree. I do not want to break up my funds and have separate accounts for each. I currently have multiple accounts, but in this particular account, I'm running multiple strategies. Just as with the other accounts, I'm running maybe 1 or 2 strategies in each account. I'm trying to become a better trader, learning what works, what I can make my improvements on. But in this account, I want to use all my funds that I have available to day trade and swing trade, and I'm day trading and swing trading my long-term holdings. I am not finding movers every day, finding different stocks. I'm trading the same stocks from a list that I created of over 200 stocks every day. Now, at one time, I did hold Shopify. That was in the old account, and those 2 shares that I had at that particular time, I probably bought somewhere back here, or I bought back in January or February before the downturn in the market, and then I sold as these prices started to fall, and then I only had 2 out of the 8 shares left. So when we transfer the account over, that's why there's a 0 here. Didn't cost me anything because I transferred them over, and then we ultimately sold those out at 138.65, and that was for a profit. But you can see this is a 3-month time frame. So in 3 months, Shopify has had a good run, and this is what we're looking for. So if you're new to my videos and you're watching this for the first, or you've only watched a few, remember the swing trading strategy, we're looking for a cross of the moving average, so where we could buy in, and then it runs for days, weeks, and even months before we sell out, just like it did here. There was a cross somewhere back here days or weeks earlier, and then it ran until we sold out after we had a cross of the fast moving average below the slow moving average. And we would have bought back in here, but I did not because I just didn't have enough money. All of my money was spent on other shares. That's a big part of my strategy. When I sell something for a profit, I look for another stock that just crossed the moving average. So when I sold out here, I found another stock out of my list of over 200 stocks that had just crossed, and that's what I bought into. And hopefully that particular stock is on a long-term run. Sometimes it can have a cross, just like we had a cross down here, and then it only ran for about a week before it crossed back up. It could do the same thing on the cross down. It could run for a couple days or a week before it just crosses back down. But in this case, Shopify is working out for us. It's showing us that it wants to continue a upward climb, and we're in. We got some great news today, and hopefully we're going to take advantage of that. So with that, I hope my educational videos are helping you. If they are, please leave a comment, and absolutely like, share, and subscribe. Let other people know. Help me get in front of other people's eyeballs who are trying to become better traders, who are thinking about getting into the market, because that's what I'm trying to teach. I want people to get into the stock market so they can start their path to financial freedom. Thank you very much for seeing my video, checking us out. Have an absolutely amazing rest of your Friday, and I hope you have an awesome, awesome weekend.